ISOPANISHAD. So we are on the text number 9. So let's offer prayers together and then we'll read and discuss text number 9. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatai Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Go Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So text number 9, ISOPANISHAD. Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yayo vidyayam rataha. Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yayo vidyayam rataha. Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yayo vidyayam rataha. Those who are engaged in the culture of nescience, nescient activities, shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the so-called culture of knowledge. So I believe last time we were just discussing how easy this shloka is to understand, right? Which means that was a sarcastic comment. How difficult it to comprehend. So unless we have a bona fide commentary on it. In other words, what is the meaning of bona fide commentary? Just like you said, the relay race, the baton is passed from one person to another. That's what parampara system is. And the knowledge is passed from one person to another. If somewhere in the middle of the line things that I can, concoct, not concoct, I want to say, I can create my own understanding. It doesn't work out. Well, what understanding would you draw from here? And what will you make sense out of here? So those who worship avidya, they put into darkness. Those who worship knowledge are put into a darkness. More deeper darkness, rather to say that. So let's take a look at the purport. So the gist of this shloka is half knowledge is more dangerous than no knowledge, which means avidya is no knowledge. So that itself is a pitfall. But those who worship knowledge, so-called knowledge, but they don't know what is knowledge, is more dangerous. And who are they? Those who worship knowledge, but they don't know, and they misguide people. Who are they? Mayavadis. Knowledge means Vedic knowledge. Whenever you're reading in scripture, knowledge means Vedic knowledge. So if somebody is misguiding using Vedic knowledge is Mayavad. Is that it? There is nothing to have too much doubt on that. Okay. So screen sharing is allowed. Somebody wants to share screen? Mother, yes, you can share. Puppet. All right. Let's begin with our star reader. चलो शुरू हो जाओ, नाम लेने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, प्रभु समझ गए.
Translation by His Divine Grace Prabhupada. Those who engage in the culture of nascent activities shall enter into darkness, into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. Purport.
Translation में पढ़ चुका था, आपको purport ही पढ़ना था.
There is echoing. Voice is echoing.
This mantra offers a comparative study of Vidya and Avidya. Avidya or ignorance is undoubtedly dangerous, but Vidya or knowledge is even more dangerous when mistaken or misguided. This mantra of Sri ISOPANISHAD is more applicable today than at any time in the past.
So somebody is saying, Mother is saying voice is echoing. No? All right, continue.
Modern civilization has advanced considerably in the field of mass education, but the result is that people are more unhappy than ever before because of the stress placed on material advancement to the exclusion of the most important part of life, the spiritual aspect.
Hare Krishna. Vidya was then Avidya. So everyone is saying the sound is echoing. So yeah, so we can have online, but they're getting disturbed. So fine. All right. So in this mantra, comparative study of Vidya and Avidya. So as you said, no knowledge is dangerous, but half knowledge is more dangerous than no knowledge. That's the point is mentioned. Why half knowledge is more dangerous? Why incomplete knowledge is more dangerous? Yes.
So Prabhuji, when we have little knowledge, so we first of all get proud of that, and we think that we can means give the knowledge to the other person.
I mean, point is, when you don't have complete knowledge, then you're only going to misguide others, no? That's the only thing. When you don't have any knowledge, then you will not open your mouth only, isn't it? So when you don't know, you don't open your mouth. But when you think you know, you cannot keep your mouth shut. And that is a problem. And then you spread false knowledge around. That is why it is said it is dangerous. Now, modern civilization advanced considerably in the matter of mass education, yet the result is that people are more unhappy than before on account of too much stress and material advancement, without any taste for the most important aspect of life, the spiritual aspect. One interesting quality of Kanishta Adhikari is he cannot keep quiet because he thinks he knows. Have you noticed that? You would see, in fact, in our own lives, we can see, probably you can reflect on that, as compared to what you are today, as compared to what you were in the past. Earlier, we used to, speak a lot to show off that I know. Now, over a period of time, we have kind of understood, यार कुछ नहीं पता अपने को, मैं अपनी खिल्ली उड़ाता हूँ बेफालतू में बोल के, why not just keep quiet and hear? And it's good for me. Why am I unnecessarily speaking? And I'm speaking and doing good. How many of you have had at least little reflection of that and change in yourself in the past and then today? How many of you? So it's with all of us. It's with all of us. So the more layman we are, the more proud we think we are. Therefore, it is said in front of Guru, you should always consider yourself fool only. Because you are a fool. We are a fool in front of Guru. The point is. So the more neophyte we are, the more we think we know, and that's what happens. And then a person wants to show off. And our purpose is making a point about material civilization or modern civilization. Now, in today's society, the scientific world, let's say the non-Vedic world, everyone is claiming to know how this world functions. And they know about everything. And they know everything can be, tailor-made for our need. Just like there was no rains in China in one region, so they sprayed chemicals and they had a rainfall there. How much rainfall, I don't know about it, but they sprayed chemicals. What you spray, if you spray chemicals on the sky, what are you going to pour? Fresh H2O water? You're going to pour chemicals. And then you get to know the effect of it 6 years, 7 years, 10 years down the line. So that's how we cause destruction. Now, why there was no rainfall over in that region? It was a big news, big story. They have built so many dams, so many dams. They have literally changed the course of every river possible there. They have dried up the existing river beds and they have dug a new land and created a new set of river streams. And they're moving water from north to south, east to west. They've changed everything, moving everything. So where there was a natural, the rainfall had to happen. Those areas have become dried up now. And so more dangerous. Like this, our ignorance becomes very dangerous. That's the point Prabhupada is making in the first paragraph. All right. Now Prabhupada says in the next paragraph, how the advancement of godless civilization is very dangerous. Okay, Madam Medhavni, go ahead. Those who would like to read can raise your hands.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandat Pranams. As far as Vidya is concerned, the first mantra has explained very clearly that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything, and that forgetfulness of this fact is ignorance. The more a man forgets this fact of life, the more he is in darkness. In view of this, a godless civilization directed towards the so-called advancement of education is more dangerous than a civilization in which the mass of people are less educated. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
How it is, if we have a civilization where people are less educated, is less dangerous than civilization where people are more educated in terms of playing and fiddling with matter. How? Any examples? Quick, bolo.
Just as you gave the example of China, in which the modernization took place.
The example of China,
But
that is fine.
as compared to that, if the villagers, we take example of villagers, their rainfall is coming and everything is quite
The
good.
villagers living a natural life. Okay, yes. Yeah, nuclear bomb. Before fight will happen with a sword or an arrow, how many will you shoot? How many will you hit? Now with things like nuclear bomb kind of thing, you can wipe out the whole population. I mean, why do you need to wipe out population when the enemy is going to die? Isn't it a natural phenomenon? Nobody's going to live forever, but they have to create bombs to wipe out population. So that's another thing. Anything else on this? How more dangerous you're saying, Pranjal? Anything?
I was saying that anything you take, material solutions create more problem.
Material solution create. Okay, that's a more fundamental concept. Agreed upon it. So advancement of godless civilization is dangerous. So even if those, forget about less civilized, even if those who are not educated at all, they're far better off. Think about the tribes living in the forest. There are hardly any, but at least they also accepted and they had some sense of gratitude towards the rain, towards the sun, towards the moon, towards the river. They at least recognize that there is some superior to them, isn't it? So now those who are living in city actually have become a hardcore tribes of the forest. Why? Externally, they are living a very cultured lifestyle, but internally they are worse than animal. As compared to those who are living in the forest, if there are any tribes in the forest anymore. Externally, they look like animal, but internally they at least had the consciousness that there is somebody superior to us who provides for us. Or there is a role reversal, but we have only degraded, not improved. Next paragraph, the different classes of men called as Karmi, Jnani, Yogis. The Karmis are those who engage in the activities of sense gratification. 99.999% people in modern civilization engage in activities of sense gratification under the flags of various activities such as industrialism, economic development, altruism, political consciousness, and even the practice of religion is only for sense gratification. I mean, क्या हुआ केदारनाथ को? Okay, Kedarnath. The religious sites have become a sightseeing like that. They go for adventure like that. Okay. इसलिए हम तो मैं लेकर नहीं है, क्योंकि अभी हमारी उतनी शुद्धता नहीं हुई है, तो वरना अंशुल जी वहाँ खड़े होकर फोटो खींचते रहते, तो इसलिए हमने कैंसिल कर दिया केदारनाथ. So yeah, religious things also. But all these activities are more or less based on the satisfaction of the senses, without any reference to the sort of God consciousness described in the first mantra of ISOPANISHAD. Think about ourselves. When we went to temple before, any religious activities were performed, it was all about us. Even not us, it was all about I, isn't it? When you went to the temple, what were you doing? You were just praying and praying and praying. For what? For one thing, I could gratify my life, I can enjoy my life more. give me good marks, give me a good job, give me a good, beautiful wife, get me good kids. Of course, you don't have prayed that. We didn't give you the opportunity to pray like that. You were caught in your college days only. So you didn't have to think about your wife and kids at this point of time. But that's what. Next paragraph. Niranjan Sakha Prabhu, your hand is up if you want to read in the language of the Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna. In the language of the Bhagavad Gita 7.15, the people who are engaged in gross sense gratification are mudhas, the asses. The ass is a symbol of stupidity. Those who simply engage in the profitless pursuit of the sense gratification are worshipping avidya. According to Sri ISOPANISHAD, and those who play the role of helping this sort of civilization in the name of educational advancement are actually doing more harm than those who are on the platform of gross sense gratification. The advancement of learning by a godless people is as dangerous as a valuable jewel on a hood of a cobra. A cobra decorated with a valuable jewel is more dangerous than one not decorated.
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, while writing his commentary, and I believe Bhaktivinoda Thakur also did the same thing on the different demons in Vrindavan Leela. So at least Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, he writes elaborately on Putana. And he compared Putana to a modern day civilization, particularly the educational system. So Mother Yashoda had put the child in the care of Putana because she dressed and came as a beautiful damsel. And that Putana, who looked harmless, who looked that is going to feed Krishna with her breast milk and nourish Krishna, was actually meant for the destruction of the child, if you think at the perspective of a child. Similarly, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur was a beautiful commentary to that. He said, just like that Putana who looked harmless, and the parents, which means Yashoda, confidently gave the child in the hand of Putana. Similarly, the parents today, they give their child in the hands of this educational system, which looks harmless, which looks, in fact, is going to nourish and protect the child, but actually is a slaughterhouse. The word slaughterhouse that Prabhupada uses now, that comes from Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur's writing. He writes, the modern education system is a slaughterhouse. And that is the point Prabhupada is making also over here. All right, Niranjan sir, we'll continue the next paragraph. It's in the same theme of what you were reading right now. Continue.
In the Hari Bhakti Susodhya 3.11.12, the advancement of education by godless people is compared to the decorations on a dead body. In India, as in many other countries, some people follow the custom of leading a procession with a decorated dead body for the pleasure of the lamenting relatives. In the same way,
Very
modern
interesting.
civilization.
Sorry to pause you here. Very interesting point, Prabhupada. Advancement by a godless civilization is just like decoration of a dead body. I don't know much about here, but I attended some funeral ceremonies back in America in those days. And I can tell you is at times more expensive than even the wedding ceremony. The casket itself costs thousands of dollars. The casket box in which they put a dead body, it costs thousands of dollars, very expensive. Of course, you can have a cheap thing also. So first thing. Second thing, when a dead body is put in there, it is decorated with the finest of clothes. And the makeup of a dead body is also done. And then he is put into it. What is their understanding? Their understanding is, man wants to live like a king, at least he should die like that. So, decorate him with the most expensive clothes, finest of the things, and put him in an expensive casket. So that culture became prominent. Over a period of time, people realized this is very expensive, Baba. It's too expensive. We can't afford like this thing. So what they have come up now, they have come up with this electric furnace. So now you put a body into that thing and it just pushes inside. It's like a microwave oven. And you pull it out, what remains? Ashes. Instant thing. How I know of this? New York Temple Bhakti Center. Right in front of that was this, what you call as funeral home or funeral house. And right in front. And every day cars will come, dead body will go inside, and on top of it was a chimney. Bzzz, Dua will come out. Then I asked, I said, what is going on here? I thought that's some prayer house. Well, no, this is electric oven here. So those who cannot afford this expensive casket and things like that, they put over here. So decoration of a dead body is what it is. We were having a discussion with this Shamanand Prabhu yesterday. We're talking about compassion. What is compassion? So I was making a point. I said there's a Vedic worldview and there's a non-Vedic worldview. According to Vedic worldview, compassion does not limit to the body. Compassion largely focuses on the need of the soul. And because body is required to fulfill the needs of the soul, so body is also taken care, not other way around. Whereas in a non-Vedic worldview, the soul doesn't exist. Non-Vedic worldview includes all Abrahamic traditions also. In fact, non-Vedic religions from India also, like Buddhism, Jainism, there is no concept of soul as such. There is no reincarnation. So the whole world is divided into Vedic and non-Vedic view. In non-Vedic view, the needs of the body only matters. So compassion is only to be given to the body here. So decoration for a dead body is a very interesting terminology being used. Decoration for a dead body in the sense, even if you're living, body is always dead. Because body is matter. Now, because you are present in the body is into action. So if you're only taking care of the body, that means decoration for a dead body. Even while living, when you're taking care of the body, is only decoration for the dead body if the needs of the soul are not being considered. That's how this point of decoration for dead body is given. All right, Prabhu, continue.
In the same way, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence.
Fantastic. Any examples? Modern civilization is a proper statement. You are very powerful, huh? Modern civilization is a patchwork. भैया note कर लो, हाँ, तुम्हारा quote Prabhupada का. These are the quotes that you do, and ask people, give your purpose. So anyone here, anyone like to explain? In the same sense, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. I see a sense of, a poetic representation here. Anyone would like to say, what does it mean here? A modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. Anyone online? Yes, Mother, go ahead.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. When I read this, it means, I think, is that Sri Prabhupada is trying to say that so the marketing of sense gratification is so strong that people, whenever they are in misery, they get so much attracted towards that marketing and towards the sense gratification feeling.
I'll again repeat. Modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. So what you're saying is correct. They keep you distracted with sense gratifications, so you forget about the miseries. But miseries exist. It doesn't solve the problem. Varun Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, by patchwork, it means everything is temporary. Whatever we do, whatever means we adopt.
Okay, it's temporary. Fine.
Can I try, Prabhu?
Yes, Madan Sundar.
Yes, Prabhu. Example is like our how we are traveling and all. Earlier and all, we used to travel only by horse cart, bullock cart and all that. Slowly cars, now aeroplane. We cut on time, but ultimately even we are only struggling. There is only misery even in spite of trying to do patchwork and trying to improve our way of traveling and all that.
Okay, I'll again repeat. Modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover. Please pay attention to the word. Meant to cover the perpetual miseries. Whatever has been done is just to hide that anything like this exists. Just like how Gautam Buddha's father tried his best to hide from his son the miseries of birth, growth, old age, disease, and death. He wanted to hide all those challenges. Similarly, what happens today is the same thing. The world today is, the things which are happening is in a way, and the society is created in a way that all the harsh truth of life are being hidden. They don't want to bring it. For example, once I had gone to New York, these things are not seen much in India, but probably possible now also in the big five-star hotels. So I had gone to New York, I checked into the hotel, and to my utter surprise, I was confused. The bathroom is big or the bedroom is big? The bathroom was so big, So, I mean, literally it was confusing. Where do I sleep? Because the bed was outside and the room looked smaller than the bathroom. And bathroom had a TV, bathroom had everything. So you cannot realize even if you have a constipation, you can peacefully sit there for an hour. I mean, it was just to let you forget about the miseries about it. It was such a incredible bathroom. Trust me, I felt like wahi pe bedding dal ke wahi so jao. So big was the place. So you get the idea, right? All the things of material comfort has been created such a way just to hide the truth behind it. Like that. Yes, somebody else. And I don't want to make more points, otherwise become a brahmachari class. The points running in my head. I want to not speak much on that. Anyone else want to say on that? Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Abhishek, Prabhu.
Now the doctors are coming with the skin surgery so that
Okay, skin surgery. Okay. Patch solution. You don't look old. Yes, wrinkle-free cream. Wrinkle-free cream. अरे हमने सुना था फेयर एंड लवली कभी किसी जमाने में औरतों के लिए आती थी, अभी फेयर एंड लवली तो पुरुषों के लिए भी आने लगी। हद है नहीं है? हाँ, अच्छा नाम बदल गया, मुझे नहीं पता था। फेयर एंड हैंडसम. I mean, this is how they cover up the things. This is how they do it, like that. Everything, they just want to cover it up so you don't see that. And therefore, when in India, if you see things, had been out in public. So if you go out on the street, you will know what is the truth of life. No, nothing was covered before. Like this. I mean, simple thing. If you have to attend nature's call, go to the forest. There was no concept of toilets, isn't it? Even the village, if anyone from the village background, it was like this. Go out in the thing. And if you don't trust, go and join the Dindi Yatra. The Pad Yatra that happens, which just happened probably a month or two ago, which happens. And I was there for this whole Dindi Yatra, which is a Pad Yatra starting from where? Dehu to Pandharpur. And I would tell, I can say those were the best brahmachari days of my life. We were living such a realistic life. There was no reason or even a moment to get distracted. Although they were all kind of people, men, women of all age were there all time. But because we are living so much life grounded on the reality, there was never an attraction, thought of attraction came, because lakhs of people are traveling. Which place would have arrangement for accommodating lakhs of people? So if in the morning you have to attend to the nature's call, you go out in the field, and you're not the only person in the field. I mean, I'm just saying, sorry for being grocery, if it's about feeling a little itchy about it. If you're feeling itchy about it, which means you're too much bewildered by the Maya. You're not understanding the reality of life. I mean, this is a reality, like, and at that point of time, this sense didn't arise only because you see the truth, nah? Because when you don't see, okay, maybe let me just make a point about this male and female attraction here, because at least I have the youth here, just for their sake, let me make a point. The things have been kept so hidden, it becomes automatically, interesting and a subject matter of curiosity, like this. But when things were out in public, there was not much attraction, charm about it. Attraction, charm, because when, we don't know about it. So this whole concept of privacy and all that, okay, it wasn't like that. I don't go more into this. I hope you get an idea. We were there with lakhs of people over there, the truth of life. It's not about that my body has this. Everybody has the same issue, and then we feel, Ultimately, this place is nothing good to enjoy. It is just an hallucination. We think that there is something we can enjoy in this world. And then we cover it up, we polish it up with all kind of patchwork solutions. Such activities, Niranjan Prabhu, continue.
All such activities are aimed towards sense gratification. But above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. Thus, the aim of real education should be self realization, realization of spiritual values of the soul. Any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya or nuisance. And to culture such nescience means to go down the darkest region of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
All right, Mother Priyanka, read.
Such mistaken educators are known in the Vedic language by four names: Ved, Vada, Rata, Maya, Ayaya, Aprahata, Jana,
Jnana.
Jasna, Myana, Asuram, Bhavam, Naradhama. The
Hare
Veda
Krishna. I'll just explain these four terms, then we'll read the what is mentioned. Ved, Vat, Rataha. This is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. One who is very learned in Vedic knowledge, reciter of shlokas, etc., but they're largely ritualistic. And the idea of ritualistic activities is, again, Sanskrit again, just for self. Mayaya aparat jnana, Maya aparat jnana, whose intelligence has been stolen. So this refers to scholarly people. They have the God-given intelligence, but despite having that high intelligence, they fail to recognize. In fact, they want to destroy the existence of God. Maya aparat jnana. Asuram bhavam, asurik pravati, which means envious of the Lord. Their only goal of the only goal of life is to deny the existence of the Lord. And naradhama, the lowest of all. And the lowest of all means those whose only aim of life is only enjoy the senses, gratify the senses, nothing else. God is there or not is there, does not matter. If it is for my sense gratification, I'll accept God. If it hampers my sense gratification, I give up the God. The only goal is sense gratification. So if you look at it, if I ask you on this basis, four categories of people have been described. Vedavatrata, these are Vedic scholars, but ritualistic people. Then Mayaya Aparat Jnana largely refers to scholars, scientific community. Asuram Bhavam, these are the envious people whose aim is to deny the existence of God, largely. And the fourth is Naradhama. Naradhama, the lowest of all, whose only goal is enjoy senses. Either if that helps by accepting God, okay. If it helps by rejecting God, okay. Out of these four categories, which do you think is the most prominent in today's society? Naradhama would be the most. And if you look at it, that's the background we also came. We were also, because therefore education was mentioned in the very first paragraph. If the education is not given in the previous paragraph also mentioned, if we don't understand education or need for education for the soul, which means for the intelligence, if that is not there, this is what we become like that. All right. The Vedvadrataha, please read. People pose themselves.
The Vedvadrata people pose themselves as very learned in the Vedic literature, but unfortunately they are completely diverted from the purpose of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the purpose of the Vedas is to know the personality of Godhead, but these Vedvadarata men are not at all interested in the personality of Godhead. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such results as the attainment of heaven.
Continue.
As is said in Mantra 1 of Sri Isha Upanishad, we should know that the personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything, and we must be satisfied with our allotted portion of the necessities of life. The purpose of the whole Vedic literature is to awaken this God consciousness in the forgetful living being, and the main principle is presented in various ways in the world's various scriptures for the understanding of fullest mankind. Thus, the ultimate purpose is to bring one back to Godhead.
Hare
But the
Krishna. Now, some examples of the symptoms of this Vedvadrata people. Go ahead. What are the characteristics?
But the Vedvadarata people, instead of realizing the purpose of the Vedas, take it for granted that the side issues such as the attainment of heavenly pleasure for sense gratification, the lust for which the very cause of their material bondage in the first place is the ultimate end of Vedas. Such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literatures, and sometimes they condemn the Puranas, which are authentic Vedic explanations for laymen. The Vedvadaratas make their own explanations of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of the great teachers called acharyas, and they tend to raise some unscrupulous person from among themselves as the leading exponent of Vedic knowledge.
So this all refers to this again. Largely the verse is talking about these people. These are those ye yu vidyayamrataha, those who worship vidya. Tato bhuya ivate tamo. They are put in the deeper darkness because they misguide people. And we have many in the world today. One category is Mayavadi category. We know Mayavadis. Outside world doesn't know what Mayavadi is. So if you see from that lens, then you can see who all fall into the category. And they are highly successful, highly influential, speak from the very big reputed platforms to large audience, but they're only misguiding people like that. So Nikhil Prabhu, read the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna, Vidyanat Pranam.
Yes.
Sometimes they the Vedvadratas give their own expression of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of great acharyas. They also tend to raise some unscrupulous person from among themselves and present him as the leading exponent of Vedic knowledge. Such Vedvadratas are especially condemned in this mantra by the very appropriate Sanskrit words Vidyayam Ratah. Vidyayam refers to the study of the Vedas because the Vedas are the origin of all knowledge, Vidya, and Ratah means those engaged. Vidyayam Ratah thus means those engaged in the study of the Vedas. The so-called students of the Vedas are condemned herein because they are ignorant of the actual purpose of the Vedas on account of their disobeying the Acharyas. Such Vedvadratas search out meanings in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. They do not know that the Vedic literature is a collection of extraordinary books that can be understood only through the chain of disciplic succession. One must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. That is the direction of the Mundak Upanishad. 1-2-12. These Vedvadrat people, however, have their own acharyas who are not in the chain of transcendental succession. Thus, they progress into the darkest region of ignorance by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. They fall even further into ignorance than those who have no knowledge of the Vedas at all.
Hare Krishna. So this was all about Vedvadrata. Prabhupada almost dedicated several paragraphs explaining that because that's what the verse talks about largely. Now the other categories, Prabhupada will touch upon it briefly. Please go ahead. Maya ya aparat jnana. What does it mean?
The Maya Aparita Jnana class of men are self-made gods. Such men think that they themselves are God and that there is no need of worshipping any other god. They will agree to worship an ordinary man if he happens to be rich, but they will never worship the personality of Godhead. Such men, unable to recognize their own foolishness, never consider how it is that God can be entrapped by Maya, his own illusory energy. If God were ever entrapped by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. Such men say that God is all powerful, but they do not consider that if he is all powerful, there is no possibility of his being overpowered by Maya. These self made gods cannot answer all these questions very clearly. They are simply satisfied to have become God themselves. Hare Krishna.
So these are the verses spoken by Swayambhuva Manu to Yajna and is making a profound statement that those who worship avidya andam tama pravishanti. However, those yayu vidyayamrataha, those who worship vidya, tato bhuya ivate tamo. They are put in a darker region of ignorance. Question arises, how do you know? And the result of following both of it is Text number 10 talks about it. Anya devahu vidyaya. Anyadahu ravidyaya. Iti shushru madhiranam. Yenastad vichachakshire. Anya means Anya, Vidyaya. One kind of result is obtained by following the path of Vidya. Anyadahura Vidyaya. Another result is obtained by following the path of Avidyaya. Iti Shushru Madhiranam. Yena Sat Vichachakshire. So how do I know all this? This has been explained to me. Yena Sat Vichachakshire. ये मुझे बताया गया है. By whom? Iti Shushru Madhiranam. Shushru means Sunna. From whom? Dhiranam. I am heard like this from a Superman. Who is a Superman? One who is Goswami, one who knows how to control his senses. So now, without looking at the translation, Anya Devahur Vidyaya. One kind of result is obtained by following the path of Vidya. Another result is obtained by following the path of Avidya. What does it mean? Because in the previous verse, following both the path of Vidya and Vidya was taking in the same direction. Only the degree was changing. Darkness and more darkness. The result was not different. The result was not different. So, you're getting a clue? So the point here is what has been spoken in the previous verse overall is avidya only. So now when he's making a point, Anya Devahur Vidyaya. So one result is obtained by following the path of knowledge. Another result is obtained by following the path of ignorance. So that has been explained here. And what knowledge? Knowledge of self-realization. That will be spoken in the next verse. Does that make sense? Let's take a look at the next verse so you see how it is. Vidyam cha yastad vedo bhayam saha avidyayam ityum titva vidyayamritam ashnute. Vidya cha also avidya. Yastad vedo bhayam saha. Saha means together. One should learn together both about Vidya and Avidya. Avidyaya mrityum titva. Avidya takes you to the path of mrityu. Vidya amritam ashnute. And Vidya takes you to the path of amritam. So let me again paraphrase the whole story here. What is the flow going on? So Swayambhuva Manu says to Yajna Purush, Andam tama pravishanti, those who worship ya avidyam upasate, those who worship avidya, they go into darkness. Tato bhuyyavate tamo. However, somebody is put into greater darkness, who ye vidyayam rataha, those who worship vidya. Then in the next verse it says, well, the result of worshipping vidya and worshipping avidya is altogether separate, altogether different goals. How do I know? Iti shushruma dhirana. I am heard from the sober person. So next verse says, what is the result? The result is avidyaya mrityum tirtva. One who follows the path of avidya, he attains death, which means birth, cycle, old age and disease. You know the cycle of birth, old age, disease and death. However, one who worships vidya, he attains deathlessness. And before he makes this point, he says, Vidyam cha tadvedo yastadvedo vayam saha. One should know both Vidya and Avidya. Is it still making sense or going over the head? Going over the head? Fantastic. You are a student meant of Bhagavad Gita only. So Upanishad में कभी मत देखना अगर ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है. Okay? Again, I'll repeat it. First verse apparently looks like give up both avidya and vidya. Is it correct? Give up both vidya and avidya. Next verse he says there is something called as vidya, there is something called as avidya, and both the results are different. And in the third verse he says learn about both. The result of one is death, and result of one is deathlessness. If you see in the whole context, Now, if you reverse, you will see the first verse which was spoken about Vidya and Avidya is different than what Vidya has been described later on. Are you getting the point now? That is how you understand this. You cannot understand in this order. You have to understand this order. Therefore, in the 13th chapter, I said those verses are Upanishadic verses. Why Upanishadic verses? When we discuss the concept of Paramatma, you cannot understand while reading from first verse to forward. You have to understand the concept of Paramatma in the reverse order. That's how you could decode it. And that's how you decode it. So now let's reverse it. Let's start from the 11th verse. The 11th verse says, one should know about Vidya and Avidya. Vidya gives you deathlessness, life of eternity. Avidya gives you death. Now, previous verse. Vidya, Avidya, both gives you two different results. How do I know? I have heard from the sober person. I have heard from the great sages. So far clear? Now let's go to the 9th verse. One who worships Avidya, they are put into darkness. One who worships Vidya, they are put into deeper darkness. How do you understand it? Which means both are Avidya only. Therefore, Prabhupada called in the 9th verse, Vidya to be so-called knowledge. Hari bol. Jiva jago, Jiva jago, Gaura Chanda bole. इसके बाद टीचिंग लॉर्ड चैतन्य में आएंगे, तुम्हें यहाँ नींद आ रही है तो तुम वहां पे समाधि में जाने वाले टीएससी में, वहाँ मायावादी का पूरा खंडन होने वाला है. और टीचिंग लॉर्ड चैतन्य में कोई पास्टर नहीं सुनाने वाला, मैं वहाँ तो पास्टर है नहीं वहाँ पर. वहाँ पे इज एक्सटेंडेड हार्डकोर फिलॉसफी. ओके, सो आप लोगों के उत्साह को देखते हुए आज के सत्र को ही समाप्त करते हैं. वैसे 8:30 हो चुके हैं. आज आपका हेड खुजाने के लिए आपके पास काफी कंटेंट है सोचने के लिए. ओके, सो 9th verse is done. 10th, 11th verse, we'll read it when we catch up. Tomorrow is Friday, right? Yeah, so tomorrow we'll not have a class. We'll have a Bhagavatam class, hopefully. So with this, if you see it, it's very easy to understand. 10th talks about, 11th talks about. I am counting pages. Kab khatam hoga? Want to start TLC. All right. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri ISOPANISHAD ki jai. Mother Madhavni has hand up. Yes, please. Anyone else also has anything? We can take 1 or 2 comments.
Hey Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the very wonderful session, Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is going to be long. Like you said, you will take my questions in the class, right? So I would allow you to complete my question completely and then answer, right? Although you may understand my question, but I just want to give a full context to it. So before that, one quick question is, you mentioned about this analogy of, what given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur of Maya and, the material civilization compared to Putana. So which book can we read that, Prabhu?
This was, no, not Krishna book.
Okay, Prabhu, I'll go to the next long question.
I had the notes for it. In that notes, there were commentary by, this is His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. He had compiled these notes for demons in Vrindavan. There he had included from all the acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and many others giving their perspectives on that. I'll take a look at it. I should have it. Then I'll share. You can read that. There, the reference of their book should be mentioned. Or in case because generally for the 10th canto, we read the commentary of Vishnu Chakra Thakur and Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. I have not read commentary of Bhaktisiddhanta. So I don't know, maybe he could have written some small book where he would have described, but those are the notes where I read about this thing, like this. Fine. What's the next thing?
So
If
please
somebody
share that,
needs it,
Prabhu.
you will put a message. I don't have my laptop actually. So my laptop has got spoiled.
Put a message where?
Karke on the group about this thing, about this notes. Or
So
else
once you share, then I will put,
Once I share then why will you put what language
So
is
what
this?
is it? What message you want in the group, Prabhu?
No message. The message is the time is over now. Let's go to the next question.
Okay. So, Prabhu, this is a long question, Prabhu. You have the time, right?
South Indian
Because I don't want to be
language.
cut short in between. This is a long question.
So
I
it's
need
a
3
long
minutes for the question.
No, we don't have time for 3 minutes because the class time is over. Class time is until 8:30. So for such things, we have to be smart enough to put your question in 5 seconds. The question
No,
is
I'm not smart enough. So
question
I
is
will
not,
ask on Saturday.
question is not a class time. Then we have to take out the
5
time.
minutes, Prabhu. The class is 45 minutes. 5 minutes is not class time.
5 minutes should be for a question. How long should be the answer then?
No, Prabhu, you are very adept in giving precise answers, but I am so conditioned by asking long questions. So your answer may be 1 minute also.
I'll suggest you one tool that will help you.
Yeah, Prabhu, please tell me. Which tool?
I didn't say anything in the devotees said here. I didn't say anything.
Whatever, whether you or the devotees.
No, the devotees echoed that there is a very nice tool. They call it Chat GPT. You can write your 5-minute long question and then write at the end. Can you please summarize in 1 line?
My technical skills are very bad also, Prabhu. I don't know what is this Chat GPT. So
I also don't know. They're saying they have a voice enabled feature, so you can talk to Chat GPT.
Sorry, Prabhu, no. Because I want my entire question to be heard by you and then answered. That is the point.
See, we can try that. And I have heard actually ChatGPT gives answers also. Huh? You can ask ChatGPT about the answer if it helps.
Prabhu, we're wasting more time in using a tool which I don't want to use. So can I ask my question?
Yes, go ahead.
So my question will be 5 minutes.
By using the word ChatGPT. Huh? Sorry, I never said that. They said that. Yes, go
Prabhu,
ahead.
5 minutes question, Prabhu. So the more you're asking, it will get delayed by 5 more minutes. So I'm asking my question now.
Question can get delayed. Why are you increasing your time limit?
5 minutes question.
Question is...
Yeah. So Prabhu, my question is, like in this verse, Prabhupada is talking about 15.15.
Just my request is, when you have your 5 minutes question, at the end you summarize your question so I remember what was the question. It might just happen.
I will try to do that. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not good in summarization, Prabhu. That is the reason I'm asking for 5 minutes. It is my conditioning. Yeah.
I should remember 5 minute long question.
Yeah. So it's getting recorded. Now we can replay it if required. Okay.
Hey, you're depending on technology now. You're telling me.
Okay, Prabhuji, can I please ask my question?
Yes,
can I please ask my question?
Yes, go ahead.
I forget my question in all this. Okay.
There's celebration going on.
Prabhu, my question is as follows. In this verse, Prabhupada is talking about Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto, right? Vedesya Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo. And then Prabhupada goes on to say that, the ultimate purpose of studying all the Vedas is to understand Krishna. And then Prabhupada says that to understand the real purport of the Vedas, which is to understand Krishna, we have to approach a bona fide guru, right? So, if by the mercy of the guru, we understand Krishna. That is the purport. So, I am just drawing a parallel to Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yap prayati samadbhavam yati nati atra samshaya. If you remember me, you will come back to me. Krishna is saying, right? But in my conditioned state, I'm not talking for others. In my conditioned state, I don't know who Krishna is, right? So to think of Krishna, to remember Krishna at the time of death, because you explained, right? Whatever we think of throughout our life, that is what we will remember at the time of death. So now I don't have anything much to think about Krishna, except when I'm chanting, I'm just saying, oh Krishna, oh Srimati Radharani, engage me in your service. Beyond that, there's nothing much I can think about Krishna, right? So whom I can think about? I can think about Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada has given me this ISKCON, because of which I have devotees, right? Not much, right? Very abstract, even that. Next, coming to the next person, maybe I can think of Srila Guru Maharaj. No, my question is 5 minutes long, Prabhu. Please, I want to fully give my question, right? I can think of Jayapataka Swami Srila Guru Maharaj. Why? Because he gives Chaitanya Charitamrita class every day in the evening, although he's just got discharged from the Rela hospital. So I get the determination, right? If this is the kind of if somebody can do this, at least I should aspire 1% of this, right? So a little better than remembering Prabhupada, I can remember Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. But that is also, not so much personal, but, online, Zoom, like that. Okay. Then, so I'm not able to think of Guru Maharaj also so continuously, right? Because I don't know much about him. Then coming down, okay, I'm thinking of